This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good Monday evening to everybody watching from wherever you're watching from Washington to Michigan, Toledo, the cornfields of Central Illinois, Michigan. We appreciate you all tuning in. We have a great show lined up for you for tonight. Before we get to our guests, I want to give you a couple of quick updates as we do every night at 6 o'clock. And the first one is we heard from Jackie Lisak called today and said that they are working on the beach cleanup that we've been talking about. And their target day for the first beach cleanup with Keep Lee County Beautiful and Chris, I think he says his name, Primo, who owns the parking lot down there on Estero Boulevard, is a week from Wednesday. And then they're going to try and have one every Wednesday after that. So as soon as we hear back from Trish at Keep Lee County Beautiful, we'll let you know the exact day and time of the first beach cleanup, which they're shooting for not this Wednesday because of this storm that they're talking about, but next Wednesday. The other one that we want to tell you about is a press conference tomorrow, speaking of the storm, that Lee County officials are holding after their county board meeting, and we'll broadcast that live. Their meetings start at 9:30, so right after the county board meeting, where they're going to talk about the 50% FEMA rule and what percentage that they're going to vote for over the 50% FEMA rule. It'll be at least 15%, according to the county's LPA, which met today. They want it to be at least 15%, and that will be tomorrow. It's a special meeting just for that. The portal for the 33931 fund is open once again. You go to the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club website, and if you didn't get your $500 because they closed the portal to make sure they had enough money, that's open again as of today. They've given out over $400,000 so far to beach residents, and all you need to do is fill out a quickie form that shows you exactly that you live on Fort Myers Beach. What?
I'm just going to come 5 minutes late.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to get all this busy work out of the way here. And you can apply, and they're hoping to go for another round. But if you haven't gotten the money yet, those are the folks that they want to get to first. So go to the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club website, and you'll see where you can fill out the information for that. And the election show tomorrow night will start at 7 o'clock. And we should know who the new council on Fort Myers Beach is made up of. And Friday night show, the happy hour show, will be at the Bayfront Bistro on Fort Myers Beach. So we'll see you there at 6 o'clock. Kim will be signing autographs in the corner booth on shirts and hats. What, you're going to see you can't go now?
Maybe.
We'll see. All right. Are you going to participate in the show tonight? Or
You didn't really give me any script to run, and I'm trying to fix my phone.
Introducing our guests for the evening. Signature Storage Suites owners, Man Caves and She Sheds, Tom Torgerson and Scott Allan. Clearly, they're in one of the Man Caves now, and we appreciate them having them on. And after we talk with Scott and Tom, John Dammerman's going to join the program and sit with Tom to talk about Margaritaville. So
I just want to ask one question first. How did you guys get your Christmas tree up already?
This is my unit over here, Kim, 106, and it's been an annual thing that we do it the day after Halloween, and I couldn't think of a better time to bring some more cheer to the area than put my tree up extra early again this year.
So Scott sends out a text to all of us and says, "Come on over, 6 o'clock, beer, and we're going to have a fluff the tree party." Every year.
So you guys wanted to come on to talk about Signature Storage Suite. So where do you want to start, Scott?
Yeah, well, first, if you give me 10 seconds to talk about mayhem at the Man Caves, I think there was a little bit of confusion on where to purchase tickets, so we fixed that. For those of you that want to come and attend and pay for a ticket, or even buy someone's ticket that's fallen on hard times, you can go to Island Storage Suites page on Facebook, and it's at the top. It's pinned at the top of the page, and you can see the flyer and the link to pay. So we are gearing up to have a really big and awesome party, and Ed's the MC, so I'm sure you're going to make the best of it.
Yep, and that's November 19th, Saturday, November 19th.
So thanks for having us on about Signature Storage Suites. So this is kind of a phase 2 of the man cave concept, and we have over at Island Storage Suites 62 units, over 10 acres, and 220,000 square feet of building space. That's all converted into man caves or babe caves. We do have women owners, and Tom and I, being buddies and business partners in other ventures, we decided to go after some land that became, while it didn't become available, we actually went hard after it to assemble 2 pieces of property that's 17 acres behind and attached to Island Storage Suites. It's going to be 70 plus new units of man caves and babe caves. We've already put some feelers out on the streets for potential buyers. We've had several sell or under reservation. And we are looking to launch our marketing venture probably sometime mid-November. So what I do want to explain about the man caves, which is called Signature Storage Suites, it's going to be combined with Island Storage Suites in a total of 30 acres of property with over 340,000 square feet of these warehouses that are converted to man caves. And if you haven't been here, it is a community of like-minded owners over here who really deck out their units to have some fun, to entertain, to store high value collectibles. And people like Tom. Tom was one of my favorite first clients back in the day with Island Storage Suites, and he's been a really, really great owner over here. We've had a lot of fun, and I think it kind of compelled the both of us to work together on the next project.
You know, Scott refers to owners, and I just wanted to clarify that. So each one of these units is condominiumized, and it allows for individual ownership. So these are not rental units. You own your unit. You customize your unit. It takes on your flair, your flavor, your character, your personality, and what you want to put inside it, what you want to keep. You know, most of them have bars and just display. We have things that I can think of one that's a World War II museum.
Yeah.
Mine is like a African safari museum. It's not just RVs and race cars, but we do have all that stuff too. And motorcycle ones. We've got one that's a studio for one of the national. What's the big band? It's Cliff.
Oh yeah, we have some rock stars over here, and all sorts of fun stuff over here that the owners are storing some stuff that they've collected since the 80s. And when you come to our parties and events, you'll see all of that. It's really, really neat to be a part of.
The smallest unit is about 1,500 square feet, but the doors are like 16 by 16, so you can get big vehicles in there. I'm just referencing the smallest unit, and then they get larger from there. A lot of them in the new edition will have backyard opportunities for patios, barbecues, and whatnot. It's what I found coming into this was initially I used it for storage, and then I got acquainted with the community and slowly transformed my storage unit to, yes, I have storage, but it's probably 80% entertainment. 80% entertainment, and we have a lot of fun here. It's just a great group of guys and girls, and it is a community. It's a fun community. A lot of us live on Fort Myers Beach or Sanibel or Captiva or Gulf Harbor, and you have, by nature, because of coastal areas, you have very small lots, very small properties, and you're not able to accommodate the storage that you would like to have, and you migrate down here from maybe a northern state or what have you, and you want to bring your things, bring your belongings with when you relocate down here, and these storage suites allow you to do that. You think of you should go into Ian a little bit and how the facility fared during Ian.
That was at the tip of my tongue there. So one thing I wanted to explain about the hurricane survival of this community. We've designed these buildings for, they're 165 mile an hour rated, but the garage doors themselves are even higher rated at 185. Now, Ian brought maybe some stronger winds. We took on 0 structural damage over here, and everybody's belongings and toys. The race cars, the car collections from the 1960s of all original caliber. We were able to save them with a very good infrastructure, a stormwater drainage plan, and a very unique engineering to the building. So we survived Ian extremely well.
Cool.
So, no, I was just going to ask, you talk about it being a community, and that you're going to have backyards and all of this stuff. So are there going to be HOA fees over there?
HOA fees. Very small ones. So what does a unit go for?
So the units go for, let's talk about the sizes. So they're anywhere from 1,350 square feet to 2,200 square feet. And they range roughly somewhere in the 300,000 to upper 400,000 price range. So of course they are the price of a entry-level home, and people have to justify the purchase of it. But I can assure you the clientele is here to support that. And it is a unique, purchase. And but the units are 30 feet wide by 65 and 75 feet deep. So we have various sizes. So nice and deep, nice and high ceilings, 20 feet tall. My Christmas tree over here is 18 feet, and I don't think you can see the top of it, but it's up there.
Did you say 2,200 square feet?
Yes.
Isn't that bigger than our house?
I think so. Oh, that's why I was laughing.
And if you add the mezzanine to it,
I'm
the mezzanine adds another 480 square feet. So it could be close to 3,000 square feet if you build out the fun stuff.
Who has the coolest one in this setup right where you guys are now? Who would you say has?
There are so many unbelievable ones, and they all just take on a life of their own. It's just the creativity is really off the charts. It's pretty cool.
You have car concepts in here. You have entertainment. I only have one car collection, and I barely drive it. Mine's got a bar, and mine looks like a sports bar. But I'd say the coolest unit. It's hard to. People are going to get mad at me. I can't say it.
Well,
when you're building right now, you have the island storage suite, but you're going to build the signature one. How long is that going to take? When
we right now we're actually on schedule for permitting. The storm did not affect our permitting schedule, so we hope to be breaking ground sometime by the end of the first quarter of this coming year, or beginning of second quarter. So somewhere around March, April is when we're looking to break ground, and the first units will probably come online available 6 months from that point. So end of summer or middle of fall.
Well, one of the things too that's cool is on the 19th when we're doing that event, people will most likely have their garage doors open, so anybody that comes to the event to support the community can see all the different collections that you have down there in the unit. Isn't that usually
a great showcase?
Yeah, so people can see what they have inside. 17 acres of property. What does that cost?
There are so many layers of cost. There really are. We were dealing with trusts and deceased entrepreneurs, and there's a process of the acquisitions. We had 2 acquisitions, and then just to get the property above flood elevation. I think we got over $2 million in earthwork to get the property over flood elevation, so that the event like Ian, that's why the event like Ian did not flood these grade level units. We put so much money into the earthwork. So that's a hard question to answer. I mean, it's the acquisition and the site work is a big number. It's a really big number.
I think if you would have said a lot, that would have been a good enough answer. It was a lot. Scott, is there anything else you want the folks to know about what you're doing there, or how they might, if they have the money and they're interested in maybe talking to you about it, what do they do?
Yeah, we're going to have tonight, we're going to be putting up some pictures and renderings of what the facility is going to look like, the new one. We got some nice, really cool 3D shots. Our digital marketing campaign starts next Monday, but by tonight, you'll be able to go to Island Storage Suites on Facebook, same page as where the party's advertised. And you'll be able to see some really neat renderings and be able to communicate with me from there or on my cell phone. But other than that, we're really excited about it.
Cool. And remember, folks, if you just joined us late, I know Andy was trying to help out somebody about what this event was. It's on the 19th, and it's at 6 o'clock. Scott, it starts at 6. Is that one?
It starts at 6:30 to 10. And Ed, I just want to remind everybody that it is a fundraiser for the beach surrounding area, including Harlem Heights and Fort Myers Beach, San Carlos Island. The money is going to be on the PayPal link to pay. It's for the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club, and that'll be shared at the end of the night. The proceeds to FMB Strong, which is the Buttonwood facility.
Right.
And we're going to try to raise a lot of money. So aside from the ticket sales, we hope that there's going to be some generous donors out there that can help the beach continue to be, speed up the recovery the way that you guys have really raised awareness and money for it. So we hope to continue that trend.
So, Bob, to answer your question, if you're going to the beach and you were going to make the left-hand turn by the Kiwanis thrift shop, you would go right at that light instead of going left. And then the location is down there. I don't know, about a half a mile on the right-hand side. You'll see the fence over there, and then the units. So that I don't know the name of the road, but it's Pine Ridge Road. It's right. You make the right-hand turn instead of the left to go to the beach. So, well, very cool. We're looking forward to seeing everybody on the 19th there when we raise a bunch of money and have a little bit of a party.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, Kim will be in Utah on that weekend with her family. So. And thank you to Andy for posting up the tickets. She's posting up the PayPal link for the tickets. So if anybody wants to copy and paste it, there it is there. All right. Well, Scott, thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming on and giving us all the information on that. And we hope to have you back soon to talk about the building process again, because that's obviously a big story. And the county's meeting tomorrow to talk about what percentage over the 50% FEMA deal that they're going to go with. So there'll be a lot more stuff to talk about soon. So we hope to have you back.
Maybe you could pop on after the Man Caves event and just talk about the rave, all of the rave about how great it was.
Yeah. And
so
see us down the beach also. And we've got the Allan Development Group, but the subsidiary company is Bayside Building. We're going to be pulling a couple dozen permits at the beach. So we wanted to let everybody know that Bayside Building will be down there assisting in the rebuild over there.
Somebody you can trust, folks. You need to work with somebody you can trust, and Scott and his folks are definitely somebody you can trust. All right. Thanks, Scott. Tom, if we could get into some of the conversation about Margaritaville and how you guys made it through the storm and what kind of delay we might be looking at, if any, and how things are going. So the first question for you, Tom, is when you saw this thing was coming, even though it looked like it was initially going to Tampa, how did you guys prepare for it?
You want to take it? I think like most people, personally and with our businesses, we felt we over prepared. And I know my wife Mary, coined the phrase, I'd rather be over prepared and find out later that we were over prepared. And going into this, we felt over prepared. We really did. We at Margaritaville.
The contractors took, conservative steps to protect, not just the building, but equipment and materials and product. Unfortunately, I think we all underestimated what we were going to face with Ian, and the preparations were inadequate for what we were up against. I'm not sure how we would have prepared for that.
So once it comes through and you get to take a look at everything that was damaged, can you put a number on it, or can you kind of tell us how much damage there was?
There was no. The good news is there was no structural damage, but the reality is there was in excess of $10 million of damage. If you think about at grade, the way the building is, and all of the buildings, the whole structure is designed, the slabs at grade and the block walls at grade are not connected to the structure. So they're designed to break away. And so they performed exactly as they're designed. Unfortunately, all those slabs and all those block walls that broke away will have to be replaced. Conduit, ductwork, some of the initial rough ends that were done has to all be replaced. Insulation was lost. All of the roof insulation was lost for the literally 3/4 of the building. We had about 25% of the building done as far as the roof goes. And take that back. I mean, concrete wise, the roof was on, but the membrane was only applied to about 25% of the building number one structure on Bayside. So and that insulation was all lost, has to be reordered, conduit. So that's the challenge we have, I think, is, like everybody, we're going through the cleanup mode. It's going well. We're slowly getting back into construction mode. But the big question and challenge is materials, materials that were, lost during the damage during the storm. And obviously, everybody's looking for materials. So it's, lead times are going to be long. And it'll definitely impact our opening. We're kind of saying maybe 4 months. We were planning a September 1st opening, and maybe it's a January 1 opening. We don't know that for sure at this point. We're working with the contractor to really nail down the schedule over the next 2 weeks, and it'll be driven by, again, material supply, and when we can actually get back into full kind of construction mode.
One of the first things I noticed when I was driving around the day or two after was the sand. It looked like there was so much sand that it just somehow made its way into Margaritaville and plopped itself down there. Was there a lot of sand there, or was I imagining things?
No, there was a tremendous amount of sand, and I think that's true of the entire island, really. I mean, that moved that sand from the beach. The retaining wall or the seawall that's in front of Margaritaville was probably 6 feet on both sides of the seawall. That the sand had been basically moved inland. So that's all being replaced, and they're doing a great job. They're they're going through it, they're cleaning it before they replace it and before they put it back on. Certainly before they put it back on the beach. But we need that sand both on the bay side and beach side. And you're right, there was a tremendous amount of sand that was just everywhere on the island. I mean, Estero Boulevard was literally covered in feet of sand.
Yeah.
So when you're going back and getting back into construction mode, if you don't have materials for one part of the project, can you move on to another area or another part of what you're working on and kind of flex that? Or is it just I don't know anything about building stuff.
That's a good question. And one example is the roof. So all of the insulation for that 3/4 of building number 1, the main building, that insulation was lost during Ian. But we will now go in, the roofing company will go in and put a temporary roof on without the insulation. We'll have to go back and put the insulation on and then apply another membrane over the top of it when the insulation is delivered. But it allows us to continue construction inside, because we've got to have a watertight or weather-tight facility to be able to work inside. So, that's what we'll do. We'll put a temporary roof on. The membrane will go on without the insulation, and the insulation will be applied later when it's available.
No, I just want to ask, so you're talking about the roof now, and it needs to be watertight. With this tropical storm looking to come in, what kind of wrench is that throwing in the works?
I don't think anything at this point.
Okay.
Right now we're really a concrete structure. We were honestly, we might have been lucky. We might have been at the perfect stage as far as construction goes. We had some windows and doors, and we had some roughed in, electrical and plumbing, HVAC, but we weren't so far along that we had. The damage would have been significantly worse if we were further along. But we were far enough along that, the roof was on, it was all concrete. It wasn't weather tight, but it was building number 1 was at a good stage.
The Cigar Hut building, when I looked at it, it looked like it was a rock, like it wouldn't never be washed away like it was, and now it's gone. Just like a lot of things on the beach, it's gone. So what are you going to put in that place there? You're just going to build a regular building there in that place?
Well, we're working with municipalities on a replacement, because we want to rebuild that building at grade. It's public restrooms, which are required by code and by law for a public pool. So we're moving forward with that. If you looked at Cigar Hut, we tried to we reinforced it. We rebuilt it essentially from the inside out.
Yeah.
And the only thing that was left standing after Ian were the block walls that we built inside, and the laminated beams that were under the roof, and then the exterior walls were all destroyed during Ian. So now we'll look at rebuilding again, because it's public restrooms. We'll look to rebuild it with the town and with the county and with FEMA in a manner that works and is acceptable.
But it's not going to look like those ugly yellow walls like it was. It's going to be a different. I'm sorry, it was kind of ugly.
But it
was a historical. It was a historical building, and those walls were very unique in the way they were constructed, and they withstood obviously lots of hurricanes over the years and lots of storms. The new building won't be constructed in the same way, but it'll be within the same footprint. So it'll be basically exactly the same size as the cigar hut was.
So what happens on the other side there, the Salty Crab, which isn't all it's in pieces now? What's going to happen on that piece of property?
Well, I'm told they're going to rebuild. It's a total loss, so they'll have to rebuild according to current codes. And they're a very substantial company. They're a well-run business. They like Fort Myers Beach. They've told us they're committed to rebuilding. What that looks like, we don't know, but they're good, capable, quality operators, and they'll be back.
And that's definitely in the high velocity zone, right? I mean, that has to be in the high velocity zone. So they're going to have to build up. How high do you think they're going to have to build up? Any idea?
I think are we 17 feet or 15 feet there? It's one of the two, I forget. But
above flood, yeah,
above flood that they'll have to build. Now, they also will be able to do breakaway down below.
Right.
For example, we have a beach bar, la-di-da, that'll be at grade level on the beach, but it's all quick disconnect equipment. It's all breakaway construction, and they'll be able to do that at the grade level.
Yeah, the kitchen for our la-di-da bar restaurant is on the second floor, because you've got to have breakaway construction at grade, and that's where we had a lot of the breakaway concrete walls and slabs that were destroyed during Ian, because they performed, like I said, exactly as they were designed.
Will that, with them raising up, will that change? Do you have rooms over there that had views that now that's going to be obstructed, or no?
No, that second level would be of that building for us is actually another restaurant. The JWB Chop House is on the second level, so it won't really impact our view. And honestly, we want people to rebuild. We need the
of
energy
course, yeah.
on the beach. That we don't want to be the only game in town. We want all it. People come to Fort Myers Beach for the energy, and we've got to get that back. And
that's a great point, John. And so, what is the sense that you're getting? Like, you're not going to open until probably January 2024. That doesn't mean anybody else is going to open either. I mean, it looks like maybe Wahoo Willie's going to open soon, and you got the Bayfront Bistro. But we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4 other places will be open. What's your sense of how long the whole thing will take? Because you need, like you say, you need everybody to be there.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's pretty tough to predict what the timing is going to be on people, because every individual business is in a different situation, and we'll have to make a determination as to how they rebuild and if they rebuild. But we're certainly looking forward to the day when Times Square is activated, and that entire neighborhood, Old San Carlos Boulevard, and because that's what people come to Fort Myers Beach for.
Well, Tom, what are you hearing about Times Square and what that might look like, and who might own what, and what's what can you tell us that we might not know?
I don't know if I can tell you anything that you don't know. Maybe just recite the obvious. It's really a complex Rubik's Cube, just from an outsider looking in. You've got all this fragmented ownership. You've got now coastal control setback lines to deal with. there really, in my opinion, needs to be a master plan, a united plan, where it's not just each individual, I'm going to design this and I'm going to do that, but you really need some kind of unified effort. And it's a huge challenge, and I don't know how you pull that off. I really don't, but that's what I see as the biggest challenge, just the fragmented ownership.
You guys know, or will there ever be anything on that other side of Times Square again? Can there ever be anything on that other side where, the Dairy Queen was in that whole side of the beach, or is it really just going to be beach now?
Well, if you look at where the coastal control setback line is, you can impose that on the buildings that used to be there. And I mean, you're not going to be able to build forward to the coastal control setback line. I don't know anybody on the face of the planet that can do that. That's just a hard stop. So their footprint shrunk. They still own their land forward to the coastal control setback line, but you can't build on it. So that's a real handicap. But there's a lot of creative energy can go into it, and something beautiful not only can, but I believe will come out of it. What it is, I don't know. I mean, I could throw out ideas, but it's not our property. It's not for us to resolve or even add another. I like to say, you can get too many cooks in the kitchen. There's already too many cooks in the Times Square kitchen, in my opinion. There need to be fewer, and it needs to be a more nimble process to master plan the redesign of Times Square. But that's an outsider looking in. We have no insights that the general public doesn't have.
So you guys are in this business, and if somebody's can't build on the coastal construction line, but they own the property, who do they sell it to?
Well, if they own the property on both sides of it, right? So most of those businesses do have property behind the coastal construction line. So, and they can serve food and beverage ahead of it on the beach.
Onto the beach.
Yeah,
so they can build something
still
smaller.
It's just different. It is going to be different. It has to be really thought through. I don't, like Tom said, it'd be great if somebody could kind of master plan what that whole area should look like. It's going to be difficult because you've got a lot of different landowners and business operators, and everybody wants to. It's hard to get everybody on the same page of music, maybe, to come together. But hopefully they'll figure something out.
But you could imagine some pretty outstanding things where, if they became unified. Where you can have, a continuous balcony of seating and outdoors, where you can just flow from one restaurant to the next on second level. And really, I think the existing land development code allows for activation forward of the coastal control setback line up to 35% of your property forward of that. The existing land development code does. Margaritaville took advantage of that. I think we have 19,000 square feet that we activated. Now we can't build on there, but we can do full service on there, and these people can do that as well. But behind the coastal control setback line is really going to have all their kitchens and their back of house type of.
So Tom, you're saying on the beach side of Margaritaville, the coastal construction line comes through your property somewhere. Maybe is it on the beach, or is it on the other side of the seawall? So people can picture in their mind, where is that line when it comes through your property?
The building you referenced that's next to Salty Crab, for example.
Yeah.
The seaward side of that building is exactly on the coastal control setback line. And then we have 5 o'clock somewhere building that's halfway between us and that other building that's still standing. But that is exactly on the coastal control setback line. So if you draw a line up and down the island there, that's the coastal control setback line. And yes, our seawall that was pre-existing and you couldn't build today forward to the CCSL, that encloses basically our 19,000 square foot that we will activate in that zone.
So we'll have seating and so forth forward of the building, beach side of the building, between the building and the seawall.
And you can, people can get service out there. So you can
Yep.
get food, drinks, whatever. You can serve out there. You just can't build out there.
Right. You think of Salty Crab before, they were on the beach. They had their most popular seats were in the sand.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's allowed to a certain extent. I think it's 35% of your forward square footage, but there's some limitation.
Has the storm changed anything that you were planning to do with the project? Has anything changed other than the delay, which is huge? Will anything be different other than that cigar hut building needs to be reconstructed? Anything major that people need to know about?
That's really probably the only thing is the change to that building. Otherwise, really, we're moving forward with the exact same, plan that we had. Like I said, none of the buildings suffered any structural damage. So it's a matter of, cleaning them up and getting back under construction, and hopefully we're not the only ones.
And we've actually started this week edging into to starting to mobilize construction. Nice. We're still doing cleanup, but you'll actually, starting to see today, electricians out pulling conduits and pool contractor, restarting and different disciplines and starting. And within another week, we should be pretty full bore on construction. But Kim, you're right. We had to reprogram the method, the approach, the sequence to construction. We wanted to build bottom up. Now we're going to have to build top down. And that's a big change. And John alluded to it. Another big challenge we have is just materials that we lost. And it's anything that has rust on it, we can't put in the building. Every single internal door frame in the building was on property. Unfortunately, they're all a total loss. Just using that for one example. But we'll overcome it, as John says. I think I would sit here today and say the worst case is we lost 4 months, and we're hoping to trim that down, get closer to 2 months delay. But whatever it is, it will be. And we want to express our sincere empathy towards everybody on the beach. Everybody's losses are huge, and they're all relative. We had still have 3 houses on the beach, but they were all wiped out and below flood. And we didn't lose everything like so many did because they were elevated houses. The beach will have to come back differently. We all know that. I will say that this is day 40, by the way, post Ian. I don't know if you know that, but it is day 40. It seems like it's only maybe 10 or 12 or 2 weeks. It's 40 days since this event took place. And the beach will build back differently. It has to, and we all know that. But I will say that I've eaten so much crow since Ian hit. I never thought something this catastrophic could have happened. I really didn't. And back when the Grand Resorts era, we're doing the coastal protection system and did all this modeling, and that the modeling showed, basically what Ian did to this island could happen. And I want to tell you that I didn't really believe it could. I knew it could be severe, but I didn't think it could be this bad. And I'm a Minnesota boy, so what do I know?
Yeah.
I know a lot more about hurricanes today than I did 40 days ago. I know that.
When you guys were doing the original presentation to the town council and all these organizations, you had a seawall boardwalk built into that, which would have completely prevented this from some of the damage. Can you tell people what that was that might not know?
Yeah, it's technically an armoring wall. It would be buried underground, and yes, there's a berm created along the shoreline. It would have been installed right on the coastal control setback line because, again, you can't construct anything forward to the coastal control setback line. It would have been invisible to the public, other than the fact that there'd been about 4 foot higher elevation at that point of sand. Clearwater Beach has this. I know people don't like to reference some of these higher density barrier islands, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Clearwater Beach. But you can take some aspects out of all, like Clearwater Beach, and that's what we did. And never really proposing Fort Myers Beach become, Clearwater Beach, but they have a beautiful coastal protection system and armoring wall. And I guarantee you walk along their boardwalk, it's invisible. You wouldn't even know it exists. You would not know it exists.
So how would that have prevented, where would have it prevented damage and how?
Our plan and proposal was to go from in front of the Edison House down to past and stop at the Down Island side of Shuckers. So it would have protected everything, every business behind that stretch of the beach all the way to the bay side, all the way through. It would have prevented a lot of damage.
And most of the damage, well, almost all the damage was done because of the storm surge. And these things protect the community from from the constant pounding of the water, which there was nothing to stop it.
This right. So you still would have flood, but you wouldn't have the velocity aspect. So you wouldn't have this thing, all this motion, this power of hydro pummeling these buildings, breaking away our concrete breakaway walls. Those wouldn't have broken, with the coastal protection system.
And that's
so the water would have come in, but it just would have raised rather than smash.
Right. It wouldn't have
everything.
It wouldn't have the movement. We still
wave action.
And then you still have to recover from flood, but it wouldn't devastate the structure.
What? So you were going to donate that to the town as part of the project? Is that how that would have worked?
Yeah, and we're not trying to promote that. This is a spontaneous discussion. We didn't plan on talking about this, but
sorry.
I know that because it was a big part in our planning that led up to Margaritaville, that evolved to Margaritaville. A path we didn't know where it was going and when it was going and where it would land, but we spent about $550,000 with coastal engineers and with FEMA in designing and modeling this system. And we have all the again, for that whole stretch of the beach, we have all the engineering completed, and we would make it available. We offered it to the town, but obviously it was a different council at the time, and it was not met with any interest whatsoever at the time. But I think it should be thrown out. I don't think there should be anything that's not put on the table as the town leads us through this redevelopment process of the island.
But
so I just want to ask: is that something that can be installed after everything, or could it still go in, or is it now you can't do it because you're already too far into it?
No, it could still go in. Sure. We had it figured out so that it could retrofit in front of even Pierside Grill. We had it designed to go all the way from Edison House with those pre-existing structures all the way down past Shuckers.
So I'm sure it wasn't the wall that prevents these waves from coming in that this previous council didn't want to approve. Was it the boardwalk concept? They didn't want it to be a boardwalk. Is that what it was rejected from that? It had to be a boardwalk somehow, and that didn't fly?
It was, I think it was a total package. I mean, it was,
I see.
We didn't really piecemeal an armoring wall and a boardwalk versus grand resorts. And so I don't know that we could pinpoint, one item. It was more of a total package that really was not received.
Do you think this boardwalk concept with the wall should be brought back up now with this new council coming in and a storm that pretty much clocked the island, knocked the island's lights out, and revisit it at least, even if they shoot it down, at least it's back on the table?
Yeah, I think like Tom said, everything, absolutely everything should be on the table. I mean, the island needs to be rebuilt, redeveloped. We should be open to any and all, opportunities and whatever that looks like. It's going to look different, and I know that's hard for people, but the reality is we've got to be open to to change.
But
I'm
you know,
wondering if something like that would also affect like flood insurance and, bring those costs down if there was more protections in place.
what takes all those properties out of the velocity zone?
All
Bam.
right.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
immediately, you can construct with different methods. Your insurance is a fraction of the cost.
Wow.
But I didn't expect this conversation to go this way. But,
Sorry.
with Ed, you never know where. Ken is a little more predictable.
Hey, it didn't end up in the toilet, so I feel like this is a plus.
But I'd like to say that, John and we don't have a crystal ball, where the town's going to go with this new leadership, and needed new leadership in this next chapter. This is a really important chapter of Fort Myers Beach. But if I had a crystal ball, it would tell me that, yes, the comprehensive plan and yes, the land development code need to be revisited in light of what happened and in light of code changes in the building standards. But I personally don't see, and I'm not promoting more density or height unnecessarily unjustified, or I don't think, I think the comp plan generally is good, but it's really dated. It doesn't have the insight of today's building requirements. It wasn't designed for that. It just simply wasn't. I mean, you look at it, and their schematics that they use to illustrate their concepts are at grade commercial buildings and houses, and that's not possible anymore. So it needs to be looked at seriously with some, I think with the new leadership, they'll bring in some great talent that's been down the path, and get some really good guidance in how to do it. But I don't think people should be scared that this new leadership would even consider or allow Fort Myers Beach to become a Miami or a Fort Lauderdale or a Clearwater Beach. I don't think there's any justifiable reason whatsoever for the community to be concerned that's where this island's going.
So let's talk about the new leadership. Who are you voting for tomorrow? And who do you think will win? Tom, you first.
Well, John lives just 15 minutes off island, so he doesn't get to vote on Fort Myers Beach. That is, I voted. I did mail in long ago, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. I mean, I'll say that I think Karen Woodson's a shoe-in, and then amongst the other three, I couldn't predict the winner. I really couldn't. But just even with Karen Woodson going in and Dan and Jim being there, the approach to conducting town business will dramatically change. The attitude, the approach. And town's got great people. It's filled with a lot of great staff and whatnot. But nonetheless, the approach to doing business comes from the top down. It comes from the mayor and the leadership of the council. And it's no different than in business. John and I are really, one of the most important things that we do with TPI is establish the culture within which our people function within. That's the greatest gift that we can give people, is a healthy culture to conduct themselves. So we have our 7 what's it called, John? We have our 7 code of ethics that absolutely we live by. It's called, the acronym is Stay Sharp. And it's just how you make decisions. It's just how you conduct yourself. What are we going to do for the community? It just guides you in every decision. It doesn't come up with a 1,000-page book that you go look up chapter 13 and in paragraph 45, subparagraph A, and it tells you what to do. This is a guiding light that tells you how to conduct yourself in doing business. And my point of just kind of elaborating on that is, top down, the mayor, the council sets the approach that town staff conducts their business with. And I really sense a significant change and positive change in a lot of things, a lot of areas of doing business. I see I see building friendships and supportive friendships with Lee County Sheriff's Office, Lee County Commissioners, Lee County Town Manager or County Manager. Do you think of all the resources and department heads, strong, big department heads that are underneath the county manager in times of crises, building relationships with FEMA, even though it's viewed as an enemy. That I don't think anybody's an enemy. I think based on how you conduct yourself and how you work with people, everybody can have a positive impact on Fort Myers Beach that impacts Fort Myers Beach. State level, I think that we can get a lot more out of our U.S. reps, our state reps, and I think they actually, I know firsthand, they want to give more to Fort Myers Beach. They want to be on the team, and they haven't been allowed to be on the team. We're going to get all these jurisdictions on the team, and they have a lot to offer, and Fort Myers Beach has a lot to offer. And it's not an argument of you have less to offer than I do or vice versa. That's not what it's about. You can't possibly account for who has more or less, but you can estimate the value of these relationships, and that can turn around on a dime. These relationships are just waiting to jump in and help Fort Myers Beach. Now you got us really going.
Well,
Lost. I think it was just you.
so do you also see a town manager change coming?
I think there's a lot of great staff. I think the town manager has a lot of skill sets. I think it's how, if you want to pick one individual like the town manager, I think it's how he responds to the new leadership.
Okay. John, anything you want to add to that campaign speech Tom just made there, that stump speech?
No, I don't think so. But I do agree. I mean, culture is obviously, in business, culture is the absolute most important thing, and it's not any different in government. I mean, and the culture that they create at the local level is critical for Fort Myers Beach moving forward.
Any other Margaritaville questions? Anything that you want the community to know about the project, and anything else you're doing for the community they might not know about? I know
we're here with you. We're not here to blow our horn. We're boots on the ground every day. You see me riding around on my bicycle with my little grocery bag full of tools and my phone and conduct business. We not only want to be, we want to be just part of the DNA of Fort Myers Beach, and be there side by side with our brothers and sisters. And we are, and we love this. We love Fort Myers Beach. We love the area. We've all suffered just huge losses, and it's day 40. I know that my wife would tell you that, I was pretty weak the first couple of weeks. We're getting our fight back, though.
For sure. Does it worry you guys at all that there might not be enough open to sustain what you're trying to accomplish when you do open?
Well, there's going to be an unusual mix of business when we open because of the massive rebuilding that's going to be going on. So the answer is yes and no. Yes, it isn't the environment that we had hoped to open into, but no, the business will be there. This rebuilding, you asked a question earlier, Ed, this rebuilding is going to take 5 to 7 years. This is not going to happen fast. I think a lot can happen in 3 years, but you get total build out and you really get this new community. It's 5 is fast and 7 is probably realistic. We're dealing with years of rebuilding here.
Right. Because there's so much to rebuild. It's like every single structure on the island has some kind of damage. Yeah. It's not just, rebuilding Times Square. It's one end to the other. I was at Bowditch on Saturday doing the video, and it was like that whole part of the island from Times Square to Bowditch was unrecognizable. From one side to the other, you were just looking right through everybody's building. Yeah. I mean, those hotels that had the Pink Shell laying off 120 people, and the Best Western had the chain link fence around them. I mean, how long will it take for those hotels to be ready?
A long time, because just think about the demand on contractors, the demand on materials. It's going to take time.
And they're, a lot of that rebuilding is going to be in a different method. It's not just rebuilding what was there previously.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's a whole new design structure.
Any final thoughts, guys? Thank you so much for coming on. Give us get us out on a high note about Margaritaville.
Well, we feel a responsibility to the community. We're very grateful that we're able to recover, that Margaritaville is able to recover as it is going to, and as it is planned. We hope that it's a beacon, provides a beacon of hope for the rest of the community to invest and believe in the future of Fort Myers Beach. And if we can be to any degree provide that hope and that confidence in the future of Fort Myers Beach, we hope we can do that.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Tom and John. Always great to us, and we appreciate that. And we look forward to watching the building go up quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Torgerson and John Dammerman from TPI. Thank you so much. We appreciate them coming on.
Yeah. I think, you take people off in a different direction when they're not prepared either. And he always they both handled it well.
They call that a good reporter. They don't just go by the script. Now, I appreciate you coming on the show tonight and being part of our award-winning radio show. I want you to read. We got something in the mail today that we want to share. We love when you send us gifts. You don't need to send us gifts, but we love when you do, especially when they're for the dogs.
I know. So Sherry Nelson, the dogs, thank you so much. She said, enjoy your gift, Cookie and Callie. So they are really, they've been waiting patiently.
Peanut Nutter Nanners. Peanutter and Nanners.
So,
from Old Mother Hubbard. I'm guessing it's kind of peanut-ishy. Takes a little peanut-ishy.
And bananas.
And grilled beef. Buddy Softy's grilled beef.
I appreciate, we do have the dogs, I don't know, for whatever it's worth, we do have the dogs on grain free. So I appreciate that too. Yeah. Well, and Callie was supposed to have surgery tomorrow, but unfortunately her vet
got COVID.
So,
from the treats. Everybody loves the dog. Oh, so who sent them again? Sherry Nelson. Thank you so much to Sherry Nelson for sending the dogs gifts. We appreciate that very much. Folks, you can order the shirts. You can order the yellow shirts. And if you go to the easiest way to do it, and I know people are trying to check on their shirts and see how the order is. If you sent the order in, you don't need to worry about it. It's in the system. If you use that form that we set up on the Beach Talk Radio News website, you're in the system. It's just taken us a little bit longer than Amazon because Marie is so slow at getting this done. No, she's not. She's doing a great job. She's doing a great job. But there's so many orders that we are having a little issue getting them out quickly. But we're getting a new batch tomorrow. The printer has printed out a new batch of shirts tomorrow. That's not the shirt we're talking about, but it looks that bright. It's that yellow. It looks that bright. So if you place the order through the website, you're good. If you didn't, you just go to beachtalkradionews.com and you'll see the link to order the shirt. And Marie will get it, and then she'll tell you how to pay. We got a lot of checks, lots of checks in the mail today. Ripped the check right in half by accident, so I'm going to have to contact that person. And I don't know. It's such a hassle. Such a hassle with the bank these days. All right. So one of the shirts was paid for today.
Be pups.
So awesome what you have been doing for Fort Myers Beach employees and residents. We live in northern Wisconsin and have vacationed on the beach for the past 25 years, stayed and ate and drank at nearly all the places. I can't even imagine what the people are going through. Sending our love and prayers from Wisconsin, Mary and Randy Engel. God bless what you're doing. So Mary and Randall, your check has arrived for the shirt. So thank you very much. And Susan saying just tape it too. This one's a long note, so we'll save it for another night. But we are now up to.
And thanks again for all the notes and all the cards, and obviously for ordering the shirts and the gifts like this. It is really, really sweet. And I'm always surprised and amazed at the generosity of all of you guys out there.
It's so cool to go to places like Buttonwood on Saturday after the show and just see people there and talk to the people.
Well, it
and
was a lot on
a lot
Saturday.
of man hugs, a lot of bro hugs on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we went to Buckets because Hoosiers was having their fundraiser at Buckets. So we saw the folks, Jackie and Captain Mark from Buckets or from Hoosiers at Buckets. And we saw some other people that we didn't know we knew. And there was more hugging going on. So there was lots of hugging going on. So thank you all for the hugs.
Somebody's asking for
what? A drum roll, please. No, we're now up to $53,500 that we've given out to employees, and we've contacted more. We're giving them checks now so that we don't have to go out and buy cards. We're giving them the checks, and we're saying, here's $3,000 or whatever it is. Go buy the employees whatever you want. If you want to give them cash or whatever, we're trying to empty the account out now, and all the profits from the shirts are going to that fund. We gave $155,000 to the 33931 fund with our last $20,000 check that we gave to Mary and Megan on Saturday. And now we're trying to just empty out the account to give to the employee fund. So we're calling all the businesses in order. If you've sent in your names, we're working down the list. So we're going to try and get to everybody this week if we can. And empty out that account as much as possible. So we're at $53,500 now, but that's really our main focus now, is to get that money to the employees so that they can have whatever the manager or the owner wants them to have. So hopefully by the Friday show, which is going to be at Bayside or Bayfront Bistro, which opened today. The town council held their meeting there today. So we hope you can more hugging on Friday. We want to see more people to hug on Friday at 6:00 at the Bayfront Bistro. And that's going to be the happy hour show on location this Friday. And guess who dropped her phone and it's not working? How did you drop your phone today?
I have dropped that phone many times, and I have the glass protector on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes that cracks, but I dropped it today. Nothing cracked, nothing changed. But boy, when I flipped it over to use it, there was all these green lines down it, and it's flashing. And
so it's a dead soldier.
I went to the one of those fix-it places, and they said, I need a new screen, but that's not cheap either. So now I'm rocking backwards to my iPhone 8 Plus, which I'm fine with for now.
See, this is somebody that refuses to spend money. So this is a dilemma she's in. She has something that she needs more than anything, but she won't spend money on it. Like, buy a new phone. Who cares? Don't send her a new phone. Don't send a new phone. You're turning it back if you mail us a new phone.
You have things. You should use them if you have them.
Well, you broke it.
Oh, I have this other phone. Granted,
it's like a flip phone.
No, it's not. It's an iPhone 8. It'll
work. What number are we up to now? What number is the iPhone up to? I don't think it will.
I'll pay the to go
just get a new phone.
No,
what is the iPhone up to now?
You need to wear your clothes. You need to repurpose. You don't have to, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, we have two crappy vehicles. One mine is leaking something now. It's leaking
master cylinder.
So I'm hoping the brakes don't snap before Friday. And your car is older than my car. So go buy a phone. It's just a thing. Who cares? It's just money.
Spending $1,000 when I have this phone sitting here, and now
we got lots of coffees. We got lots of coffees last month. Go buy a phone.
It's an iPhone 8. It's great.
Oh, don't encourage her to keep that crappy phone. What is the iPhone? It's up to 14 already. You're not
up to 14, and that's about $1,400. And what do I use on the phone? I call, I text, I use the maps. That's it.
We're going to get enough coffees tonight to buy. You're going to get the 15. That's what you're going to get. iPhone 15. Do not mail us a phone.
Samsung. Much I don't need all of the things that are on.
Oh, Rhonda, you're a liar, Rhonda. She says she's got an iPhone 5. How dare you?
It anymore.
iPhone 5. Wow. That probably still has
change the subject.
Why? All right, enough already. We've been on for an hour. So tomorrow night we'll be on starting at 7 because we want to be able to. It's going to be quick tomorrow just to announce who won the election and maybe have one of the winners on if we can locate them. I know Karen's celebration will be at Buckets, and 10% of the proceeds from that whole night they're going to be given back to the fund, the 33931 fund. So if you're around anywhere, I don't go out during the week. So if you're out at Buckets tomorrow night, you can be hanging around with all the winners from the election Tuesday. Don't forget that you also have to vote for an at-large school board candidate, which would be Denise Nystrom, and you have to vote no.
You can't tell people how to vote.
No, but I could tell him. I thought Tom was going to say who he voted for. He almost slipped it out there, and then he changed the subject right away. Yeah. All right, Sharon's telling us we have to go. See, when people start to say things like that, then you know it's time to go. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for Monday. Have a great week. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7. We are trying to get we have secured. I know we'll watch the numbers go down drastically. And the thing is, it's not funny when we're not drinking. So it's much more funnier when we've been drinking. So
Funny.
it's much more funnier. We're going to have the head of the building association on Wednesday night. His name is written down somewhere. I just saw him today. They're all signing off. And now you guys saying bye-bye because you're signing off, or you want us to get the hell off? Either way is fine. And that's going to be Wednesday night. He wants the 50% FEMA thing to be 40%. That's what he wants. He wants it to be super high. So we're going to have him. In addition, right? Instead of what like Fort Myers Beach is 20%, he thinks it should be 40%.
Well, that would change a lot.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody. That's enough. See you all tomorrow night at 7. You have a great night. Bye-bye. I said that like I was constipated.